All right, let's talk about NVIDIA. You've seen the name everywhere, right? But today, we're digging into how they became the undisputed engine of the entire AI revolution. And the story of how they got here, well, it starts with some numbers that are just truly mind-boggling.
Okay, let's just start with this number, $57 billion. According to the story we're exploring, that was NVIDIA's revenue in a single quarter back in late 2025. I mean, to put that into perspective for you, that's more than the entire yearly GDP of some countries. It's just a staggering, almost unimaginable amount of money flowing into one place.
And here's the crazy part. This growth isn't even slowing down. It's hitting the accelerator. That $57 billion quarter, it represents a 62% jump in revenue from the very same quarter just 1 year before. Growth like that, at this kind of scale, it's almost unheard of.
Which, brings us to the real question here. How? How on earth did a company that started out making graphics cards for gamers come to basically hold a monopoly on the hardware that powers artificial intelligence? It's not just about building great chips, you guys. It's about a series of incredibly audacious, strategic power plays.
And honestly, there's no better way to understand that strategy than by looking at a key case study. A hypothetical, but totally illustrative, $20 billion deal for the assets of a smaller rival, a company named Grok.
So the story goes that in late 2025, NVIDIA drops $20 billion. And get this, it wasn't even for the whole company. It was for its core assets and its key people. That price tag, which was nearly 3 times what Grok was valued at, tells you everything you need to know. NVIDIA wasn't just buying some cool tech. They were taking a major threat right off the board. To get why that threat was so huge, we need to talk about AI inference.
Okay, so here's the simple breakdown. You've got training an AI model, which is kind of like sending it to school for years, teaching it everything it knows. But then you have inference. That's the final exam. That's when the AI actually uses all that training to think and give you an answer in real time. It's what happens every time you talk to a chatbot, and it needs to be incredibly, incredibly fast. And that was Grok's superpower.
What's so fascinating here is the completely different approach to the problem. NVIDIA's GPUs, they're masters of parallel power, just brute force, perfect for the heavy lifting of AI training. But Grok's LPU, it was a totally different beast. It used a single, super efficient core with the memory built right onto the chip itself. This design gets rid of all the bottlenecks, making it insanely fast and predictable for that last mile of AI inference.
And wow, this chart just says it all. In independent tests, Grok's hardware could generate tokens for a large language model twice as fast as the next best thing. A 2x speedup isn't just a small improvement, that's a whole generational leap. For things like a real-time AI assistant or a self-driving car, that difference is, well, it's everything. NVIDIA saw this and knew, we have to own that.
But here is where it gets really clever. NVIDIA didn't technically buy Grok. It was an asset purchase and an acqui-hire. This move let them scoop up the technology and the brilliant minds behind it, while basically leaving Grok as an empty shell. Why? To sidestep the regulators. A full merger would have triggered all sorts of antitrust alarms and could have killed the deal. This was a masterclass in corporate strategy.
Now, a move this bold and this unconventional could only come from an equally unconventional leader. This whole strategy is a direct reflection of the unique philosophy of its founder and CEO, Jensen Huang.
This quote, it just gets right to the heart of it. Even as NVIDIA grew into this trillion-dollar behemoth, Huang's goal was always to keep the speed and agility of a small company. He does it through a management structure that basically breaks every single rule in the business textbook. I mean, just look at this list. It's wild. Most CEOs of huge companies have maybe 10 direct reports. Jensen has around 40. There are no scheduled one-on-ones, no separate business units fighting over resources, and get this, absolutely no status reports or 5-year plans. It sounds like complete chaos, but it's actually a system designed for one thing: speed.
So instead of bureaucratic reports, any employee can email Jensen their top 5 things, what they learned, what they did, what they observed. He supposedly reads about 100 of these every single morning. It's his way of getting unfiltered, ground truth information directly from the source, letting him feel the pulse of the entire company in real time.
This obsession with speed, with risk-taking, and with just unconventional thinking, it isn't new. It was actually forged in the fire of near catastrophe, right at the company's very beginning.
Yeah, just a few years after being founded, NVIDIA was on the brink of total collapse. In 1996, with only enough money for 1 month's payroll, Jensen made this gut-wrenching call.
lay off more than half the company, and bet everything on a single new chip design. That bet, the Riva 128, was a massive success that saved them. And that experience created a culture that is permanently wired for survival.
In fact, for years afterwards, Jensen would start internal meetings with these exact words. It became the company's unofficial motto. This mindset, this constant sense of urgency and the belief that you are always just one step away from failure, it explains everything. It explains the risk-taking, the aggressive acquisitions, and the relentless pace of innovation. So, you combine that history of survival, a unique leadership style, and an aggressive strategic vision, what do you get? You get the NVIDIA of today, the AI landlord. A company that, through relentless execution and just brilliant foresight, has positioned itself as the primary landlord of the AI era. You know, they build the picks and shovels, the roads, and the power plants for what is the single biggest technological gold rush in human history.
And that leaves us with a final and pretty crucial question. You know, this isn't just about chips and stock prices. It's about a foundational technology that is going to reshape our entire world. So, when one company has this much control over the engine of AI, who is really in the driver's seat?